What is a fly-by-wire system and a conventional control system, and how do these work? So these are the two systems that aircraft typically operate on when we control them in the air or on the ground, right? So let's first look at the fly-by-wire one, which is typically something that comes from Airbus, and this is very computer driven. Okay, so essentially I've tried to break it down in simple layman's terms. I'm not going to go into the very deep details of these systems. That's another video, a long one. But essentially with a fly-by-wire system, you typically have a control input in the aircraft, and that can be to roll the aircraft or to pitch the aircraft or to use the rudders. And from that control input, every single movement that you make when you use that control actually gets measured. There's a signal that gets triggered when you move those controls. That then gets into a computer. The computer reads that and then sends out a signal to a server or a similar type of mechanism that is attached to the control surface, and then the control surface moves, right? So in layman's terms, it's basically you moving the controls. The control input gets measured, gets sent to a computer. Computer then sends more signal to a server, which is a little mechanism that can actually move your aileron or your rudder or whatever, and that's how you then fly this aeroplane. Okay, so you can see it's very much computer driven and goes into different laws, and when you operate this aircraft, you need to study this quite deeply to understand how it works. Otherwise, you're flying a computer which you shouldn't be flying. Okay, then conventional controls. This you can just think of a very basic trainer to start with. Like I said, it's a 172 Cherokee. Your controls are linked directly with a cable to the ailerons, to the rudder, to the elevator. It's like when you move the controls, you can immediately feel that it's moving in the back, right? There's a direct linkage. So if you pull hard and quick, elevator is going to move hard and quick, okay? Which is not necessarily the case in all fly-by-wire systems. So here there's a direct linkage. Now in bigger aircraft, obviously for you to move a 747's elevator or rudder, you're not going to be able to do it with your manpower, even if you miss the muscle. There we typically have hydraulic systems. Now don't get confused between a hydraulic system and fly-by-wire. It's two different things. It can still be a conventional system with a hydraulic system in the conventional system. And the only thing, or the only reason we have hydraulic systems is to be able to move those big control surfaces, because we don't have enough power. But it's still conventional. It's when you move the controls, there's hydraulic fluid running in hydraulic lines, goes through a hydraulic motor or a pump, and that then just moves the control surface, whether that's the ailerons, the rudder, or whatever. Okay, so it's a control input. There's a direct linkage by means of a cable or hydraulic system in bigger aircraft, and then the control surface is moved. You'll see there's typically no computer system integrated here. However, we are starting to move with a mix between these two. So you've got your conventional systems, and then they tend to plug in a little bit of a computer system, just to help you as pilot not to exceed the limitations of the aircraft, like overbanking or overpitching or overspeeding and so on and so forth. So they do tend to incorporate some computer mechanisms here, but that's more from a warning perspective to warn you. It's not necessarily taking over the controls of the aircraft, where that is the case in the fly-by-wire system. So that's the difference between a fly-by-wire and a conventional system.